Hey guys, Jasmine Trinae here, and I'm just stopping by with one of my spiritual videos. I haven't done one in a while, but today I really want to get into how to know when you're having a spiritual awakening. Okay, so first of all, let's get into what is a spiritual awakening. What is this? Everybody has their own definitions. Everybody go through different symptoms, different things happen to everyone differently. So, my definition of a spiritual awakening, I believe that a certain aspect of your spirit is awakening because there's a certain area that you need to attend to, that you need to recognize, and that area in your life is particularly a area that you need to involve in. Okay, so um, most of the times when we go through these spiritual awakenings, it is to prepare us for what is to come. It's to prepare us for the new dimensions that we have to walk into, the new doors that are opening for us. We go through spiritual awakenings. Okay? Some of us have physical symptoms. One physical symptom is acne. I am not a medical doctor. I am not a provider. You could have acne due to many reasons, but I do feel like a spiritual awakening could trigger acne. And here's why. The spiritual awakening, when you're going through these things, your hormone levels are changing. You could be highly stressed. You could be eating differently. So, with that being said, when your hormones are changing throughout your body, sometimes it can cause acne, blemishes, and other things. It causes unusual things to the body. Now, don't quote me on this. I do recommend to talk to your provider because I am not a provider, okay? Another symptom is anxiety. You have really bad anxiety. You get panic attacks. You get paranoid. Um, Me, myself, I feel like anxiety shows up when we have very strong suppressed emotions. That's when the anxiety shows up. And a lot of the times we have anxiety when we are going through a spiritual awakening. I know for me, my very first spiritual awakening that I had in my life, anxiety was the number one thing that I experienced. And I had never experienced anxiety before, never knew what it was. Um, it was just something that I never experienced. So when I started to experience panic and just unusual fear, I knew that a part of me was changing, that I was maturing, that I was leveling up, and that God was truly trying to get my attention. So, another sign that you're having a spiritual awakening is that you tend to lose or gain weight. You tend to lose or gain weight because 9 times out of 10, your appetite is changing. You no longer want to eat the same things that you ate when you were, a kid, or you ate 4 or 5 years ago. Your diet is changing. Things around you are changing, so you have a different appetite. So this different appetite could cause you to either be losing weight or gaining weight. Another one is that you want to, you just make different choices. Another sign that you're having a spiritual awakening is that you make different choices, different lifestyle choices. Like you think a little bit deeper about things than you have before. Things that you would just go ahead and do and you wouldn't think twice about doing. Now you're thinking twice about doing these things. And a lot of the times that happened for us, that's like in our early 20s. Another sign of a spiritual awakening is fear and paranoia. And this fear and paranoia could almost cause a false sense of self. Sometimes when we have those false sense of selves, it's almost like we're going through some type of identity crisis. Things are transforming within us on a spiritual level. So we tend to not know who we are anymore. You don't know who you are anymore. This is when you know that your spirit is awakening, that you're growing, that you're elevating, and you got to get on that train that you need to get on to stay ahead and stay a part of your path. So, a lot of times people, when people go through this particular symptom of a spiritual awakening, which is having like a false sense of self and having those identity crises, a lot of times people tend to lean on drug use and abuse. We tend to lean on alcohol. We tend to lean on THC. We tend to lean on pills. We tend to lean on whatever drugs there is out there. And this is why you see some of our motherfucking uncles and aunties crackheads to this day. Because they started a spiritual awakening, but they didn't successfully trust the process. They couldn't handle it. They didn't know how to cope with the spiritual aspect of their self that was awakening, so they decided to stick to drugs. And this is no shame or shade to anyone. I too have had my own experience with alcohol. Okay, so some more physical symptoms and signs that you're having a spiritual awakening could be excessive headaches and migraines. You're not the type of person that has headaches and migraines, but all of a sudden it could be for like a month straight and you're just having these headaches throughout the week, these migraines throughout the week, and you don't know what's really causing these headaches and migraines. Sometimes this symptom could be due to that your spirit is awakening and that your body wants you to attend to it. Like I said, don't quote me. I am not a medical provider, and I do recommend to keep up with your health and wellness checks because it could be other reasons why you're having headaches and migraines. But this is one sign that you're having a spiritual awakening. You hear buzzing, you hear ringing in your ears. Another one that has gotten me is that I hear someone calling my name, but I know no one is calling me. I could walk outside my door and I hear someone like, Jasmine, and it sounds like they're far away, but I know it's nowhere over there calling me. You could literally hear someone trying to call your name. And me personally, me being the spiritual being that I am, I feel like this be beings from other realms that's like trying to get our attention. Topic for another day. So, another sign is fatigue. You just fatigued. You don't understand why you're so fatigued. You could get 6 to 8 hours of rest, 12 hours of rest. You wake up and you're still tired. This is another sign that you're going through a spiritual awakening. Okay? Another one is that you have insomnia. You cannot sleep. You wake up 3:30 to 4:30 every morning, unusually. You usually sleep well and sleep the entire night, but now you're waking up at night. And you don't understand why. It's hard for your brain to just shut off and let you rest. This could be a sign that you're going through a spiritual awakening and God is trying to get your attention. God wants you to focus on a specific area in your life, and God wants you to pour into Him. God is shining His light down on you. So when you get these symptoms, don't let it get you down. Okay? Don't think the worst. Don't get alarmed and just, when you start having these symptoms, we're going to make another video for that. Okay? So another sign that you're going through a spiritual awakening is that your body temperature changes. You know how most older women that goes through menopause, when they hit that over the hill mark, they have hot flashes. 1 minute they cold, 1 minute they hot. Hormonal changes. This can also happen at a young age. This don't just happen to women in their 50s. This happens to men. This happens to younger women. To where your body temperature is changing. Okay? You gotta pray for Sister Cat. Another symptom and sign that you're going through a spiritual awakening is that you start to feel like you just don't fit in. You don't fit in with the old crowd that you're used to. You feel misunderstood. You feel like no one understands you. You feel like you don't have anybody. Sometimes you even feel like the world is against you, literally. I went through some of these things and I had to grow and overcome that. And the reason why we go through this is because you should be recreating a brand new you for your next life, for your next chapter, for your next dimension, for the next doors that is about to open for you. So this is why you begin to feel like you don't fit into the places and the spaces that you're used to. Some of us, another symptom and sign that's very serious, some of us really loses touch with reality. We begin to experience depersonalization, derealization, and then it could cause a depression because you don't understand what's going on. So depression is also a sign as well. And then things start to change and shift in our relationships, our friendships. This could be a sign. All of these are signs and symptoms that you are going through a spiritual awakening, or you have went through a spiritual awakening. If you've ever went through a spiritual awakening,